The roads of the former GDR once echoed with the sound of simple, rugged, and unmistakably Eastern European engines. These motorcycles were not symbols of luxury but of necessity, pride, and identity. Designed behind the Iron Curtain, they served workers, soldiers, and families who relied on them every day. Today, many of these brands no longer exist. Their factories have been dismantled or repurposed, their engineers forgotten, and their machines left to rust in quiet barns and garages. Yet the legend of GDR motorcycles lives on, shaped by innovation, survival, and a unique industrial spirit. 1. EMW, Eisenacher Motorradwerk. Once a proud successor to pre-war BMW production in Eisenach, EMW became the GDR's attempt to keep German motor engineering alive under socialist management. Known for their red and white logo, EMW motorcycles combined BMW's heritage with East German practicality. Models like the EMW R35 became cult classics. But by the 1950s, the brand faded as the state shifted focus to automobile production, leaving EMW motorcycles frozen in time, reminders of a once promising engineering dynasty. 2. AWO, Simson Soul, the People's Motorcycle. From the town of Soule emerged AWO, later Simson, the manufacturer of the beloved AWO 425 Sport and Touring models. These motorcycles were symbols of reliability, quality, and pride within the GDR. AWO's four-stroke engines were advanced for their time and admired across Eastern Europe. As the decades passed, Simson shifted almost entirely to mopeds and small displacement vehicles, and the great AWO motorcycles became relics of a golden age that ended too soon. 3. MZ, Motorradwerk Zschopau. Perhaps the most iconic GDR motorcycle brand, MZ was a global pioneer in two-stroke technology. Under engineer Walter Codden, MZ developed groundbreaking exhaust systems that later influenced Japanese manufacturers. Riders adored models like the S250, TS series, and the legendary ETZ. Despite international success and enormous potential, political obstruction and economic collapse doomed the brand. Production flickered on briefly after reunification but eventually ceased, leaving MZ as one of the greatest what-ifs in motorcycle history. 4. IWL, the Socialist Scooter Revolution. Not all GDR two-wheelers were motorcycles. IWL manufactured scooters such as the Pitti, Wiesel, Berlin, and Troll, machines that were rugged, affordable, and surprisingly capable. They were designed for the everyday worker, built with simple engineering and unfussy styling. As consumer tastes changed and cars became more accessible, IWL scooters lost their cultural relevance. By the late 1960s, the brand disappeared entirely, remembered mainly by collectors and vintage enthusiasts. 5. BK, Motorradwerk Zschopau. Before MZ became a household name, the factory in Zschopau produced the BK 350, a two-cylinder, shaft-driven motorcycle admired for its technical refinement. It was intended to be the flagship motorbike of the GDR, but production ended abruptly due to political decisions rather than engineering flaws. The BK name vanished quickly, leaving behind one of the most underrated East German motorcycles ever built. 6. Diamond, a brief but bright spark. Diamond was primarily known for bicycles, but for a short period the company ventured into motorized two-wheelers. These early motorcycles were small, practical, and aimed at cost-conscious riders. However, economic restructuring in the 1950s ended their motorcycle development entirely. Diamond's motorcycle phase remains a little-known chapter overshadowed by its much longer bicycle history. 7. Phenomen, the pre-war legacy that faded away. Phenomen began producing motorcycles before World War II and was integrated into the GDR's post-war industrial system. Though they built competent machines for several years, the company soon shifted toward light trucks and utility vehicles. Eventually, motorcycle production stopped completely, and the Phenomen name disappeared from the two-wheeled landscape. 8. DKW Zschopau Legacy, the ghost behind the curtain. Before the GDR existed, DKW was one of the world's largest motorcycle manufacturers. Many early GDR designs, including those from MZ, evolved from DKW engineering and tooling left behind after the war. Although DKW itself did not survive within the GDR system, its ghostly influence shaped nearly every East German motorcycle brand. By the 1950s, the name vanished from Eastern production entirely, but its legacy lived on through its descendants. Conclusion: Legends of the Eastern Bloc. These 8 motorcycle brands represent far more than machines. They tell stories of innovation under pressure, craftsmanship behind political barriers, and the determination of engineers who worked with limited resources, but limitless ambition. The roar may have faded, but the legacy of GDR motorcycles remains alive in the memories of riders, collectors, and history lovers who still cherish these silent legends of the East.